Alright, what's up guys? Welcome to this episode of Tech Stuff. This is going to be a really short and quick one. It's basically like what the title said. I got the new iPhone 11 Pro. Now, just like everyone else who's all in the hype and queuing up, I didn't do that. I actually ordered it online and it came just about a week ago, which gave me enough time to test it out, but not enough time to upload this video in time for all that hype on YouTube. But I really wanted to share with you guys some sample footages of this camera that obviously is the main reason why anyone would spend I spent $1,800, but I don't know how much is it in your country, but spend that much amount of money on a single smartphone. Now, before we get into this, I'm just going to show you some clips throughout my day testing this camera out. I didn't really have a plan in mind. I just wanted to really test out all the main user features. I'm not going to go too in-depth into this, but hopefully these sample footages will give you an idea of the quality of the camera, the resolution, and if it really lives up to the hype of all that advertising and whatever everyone else is saying. So this is going to be the first time I'm going to see all the footages from the camera on a big screen. If you are wondering why my eyes are going left and right, it's because I have two screens on each side of this camera, so just keep that in mind in case I'm not looking directly at the camera. Alright, so with that said, let's get right into it. Alright, so I started out in this bridge near Orchard Road and want to really test out the wide angle and sort of the zoom that it has. It has this feature where you can use your thumb to kind of scroll up and down along the side of the camera to zoom in and out. But immediately I can see on this footage that at the widest it has its 4K quality, but once you zoom in it loses all that quality and it becomes almost shit. That's quite disappointing actually. I didn't think that zoom function would really mess it up that much. Alright, then in this clip, I started out at the middle focal length, just sort of the normal one, and the quality looks a lot better, which kind of gives me the impression that if you really wanted a zoomed in shot, you shouldn't start from the widest and then zoom it in. You should try to get the correct lens activated, if that makes sense. Yeah, so right out of the box, this isn't a function that I want to use. I do not want to use this zoom wheel anymore. Oh, that's quite disappointing. Alright, next clip. I really wanted to test out how good the image stabilizing was. So the image stabilizing only works for the telephoto and the normal lens. The wide angle lens does not have image stabilizer, and actually it doesn't really need it from the footage that I can see. So just check out this footage right here. This one is using the middle range lens with the image stabilizing on. So you can see that it's trying to correct my footsteps as I walk down the bridge. Now this is a wide angle shot, and as you can see, it feels a lot smoother and you can't really tell my footsteps as much. The thing is that wide angle lenses has this effect that kind of reduces the obviousness of the shake, and this is really something impressive about this wide angle lens. I mean, honestly, I would rather use the wide angle function of this without the image stabilizer rather than at the middle range lens with an image stabilizer. This looks really cool actually. Alright, so at the same time, I wanted to test the 4K sort of selfie camera that is the sort of the front-facing camera, and the quality lives up to it. I can see every single pimple on my face. Alright, moving on. I went up to the roof garden of this mall and saw a skate park right below, and I really wanted to test out the zoom function once again. Keep this in mind, when I tried out all these zoom functions, I was looking at the results, the playback on a smaller screen, so it didn't look too bad to me. But right now, as you can see this footage of me zooming into the skaters, you can barely make out their faces once you use that zoom ring. I mean, honestly, that's pretty shit. And yeah, like I said, I would rather start off in that telephoto lens, so you select the correct lens that you actually want and that focal range and use it from there. Don't try to start with the wide angle and zoom in. That's a horrible idea. But with that said, if you are just doing it for fun, I think this is an amazing function for that. But if you're really serious in getting good footage out of this camera, do not use that scroll wheel. It sucks. Oh my gosh, this is so bad. A few more shots of the skate park. Pretty nice colors as far as I can tell. But let's move on. So I had a lot of fun playing with this wide angle camera, which I think a lot of people really loved. Took a few more shots of me just walking down a straight path and really testing out the wide angle and its stability that it offers. so getting some really cool shots that you would usually not get on a smartphone without a gimbal. And yeah, it's so good to not travel with a gimbal or anything like that, and just have all this stability at the palm of your hands. Alright, so I also got a couple of shots in the library for this, trying to check out how the low lighting really affects it. I can honestly see quite a bit of noise already in this video clip. This place wasn't exactly dark. It's a library, so it's quite well lit. So I'm a bit surprised about all the noise that's coming out of it. Alright, so these next clips are just some samples of the different focal ranges that it offers without any of that zooming. So first clip is at its widest using the wide angle view on the camera. The second clip over here is the more middle range one, which I think most people would be using, or that would be the default when you turn on the camera. And of course, lastly, we want the telephoto one. And like I said, it's really evident here that using the telephoto lens instead of zooming in gives you a lot more clearer footage. Okay, so this clip is just out of curiosity. I wanted to see what the distortion was like if I used the wide angle camera as a vlogging camera. And you can see my arm is really stretched out. It does not look really good, but if you're not too bothered with that, then that's fine. That's a great camera to use. Alright, so if you guys don't know, in Singapore, this is the main shopping district of Orchard Road. Just trying to use this in the crowd to see. It's actually really discreet. Nobody paid any attention to me, even though I had the latest iPhone. But yeah, nobody paid attention to me because I didn't need a big camera setup to get all these smooth footages. And honestly, I can see myself using this to make like a nice visual short footage or cinematic footage of this. Crossing the street as well, very casually, just holding it out, getting some nice shots. It's really simple. And it started to rain, so testing the weatherproofness. No, I'm not gonna test that. But I found myself right outside the Apple store in Singapore, and of course, I wanted to show off my iPhone 11 Pro while everybody else was queuing up for it. I can't believe they're still queuing up for that. Now, one thing I immediately realized is that this wide angle lens isn't just good for you know, walking around and filming stuff, but if you've watched some of these tech reviews, like people like MKBHD, they get that kind of top-down shot which gives you sort of a first-hand perspective of the product and its relativeness to your hands or how a user might use it. That kind of shots are really difficult to set up. But using this wide angle camera, I was really comfortable just holding it in front of me and using the product right in front of the camera. So this is another angle that I think I would really use if I was in a tight situation and couldn't set up my whole camera. It's something very impressive actually. And I really enjoyed using it in the Apple store, just playing around with all the iPhones, the Apple Watches. Yeah, so something really cool to use with this wide angle lens. So again, I'm not expecting the greatest things from smartphone cameras. The resolution is there, but I would say the low light handling still hasn't gotten on par with DSLR cameras. So I can see in some perfectly alright lighting situations, the noise is starting to come up, and that's kind of a sad thing. So I just got a couple more footages of the different focal ranges that this camera has to offer. I was at the gym on top of a building and it had a really nice view of Orchard Road from up there. So again, you see the telephoto range, which is still holding up its quality. I mean, that's part of the lens. And the medium range, of course, and the wide. The wide really gives a very new perspective, and it takes a bit of time to get used to it. Alright, so that's all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. $1,800 for a smartphone. I don't know if it's worth it yet. The camera is good, but it isn't on par with the mirrorless cameras or DSLRs of today. So if you're thinking of really getting into making videos, I would not recommend just using solely an iPhone. As technology grows and everyone's expectations of resolution gets higher, it will not keep up. But with that said, having a 4K camera in the palm of your hands is something very impressive and something I would not have imagined just a few years ago. So that's all for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like if you like this video, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you guys in the next video.